Alright, this is my Arrow Season 6 super spoiler review here. I have the review on my website that is almost completely spoiler free if you want to check that out. I'll put a link down below. You can go check that out. All the other stuff on my website, comic strips. There's almost 1,000 of those things on there, and I think a couple of them are funny. So let's get back to this review, or start the review. The first talking point I'll go with is pretty solid cliffhanger last year with, Lian Yu explodes, possibly everybody from Team Arrow could be dead. We know Oliver and William survived, and other than that, it's a mystery. I mean, they let a few characters leak out as far as being coming back to the show between the interim, but for the most part, going in, everything was a mystery, and unfortunately, they basically ruined it early on and showed us that everybody survived except for William's mom, who was such a minor character that I can't say anyone was attached to. And that was it. I mean, Thea was in a coma for like half a season, and then she was fine. Diggle eventually had an issue with his arm, which still wasn't even an issue until he tried to fill in for a Green Arrow, and then even that got fixed. So, I mean, for the most part, there was no major consequences from the big, literally explosive season finale. I think CW has been really bad this season as far as bringing shows back from the big cliffhanger and just pretty much undoing it like quickly. Talked about it in my Legends of Tomorrow review already, about their broken time cliffhanger being just wiped away, and I got a Flash review coming up shortly, and it wasn't as bad, but again, they wrapped it up in the first episode back, so I don't know. It's not, CW's not the only show that does this, but it's been pretty bad this season. So the other big thing this season was basically doing the Arrow version of Captain America Civil War, with basically Team Arrow and Team Not Arrow beefing, and a lot of the stuff that happened felt really forced and felt like people had to take more extreme views on stuff than usual just to make sure there was conflict. Like when you watch Captain America Civil War, you're constantly like, I don't know which side to choose because both of these guys are right. You don't get as much as that on Arrow. It's more like both of these guys are being jackasses, and they're just digging their own hole here, basically. It does help splitting all those characters up into two different teams, even though they're more or less working on the same goal. I think they could have did a little bit more with it. They could have, maybe had them do slightly different missions, and who knows, maybe the show would have worked if having the team split. I doubt it, since it's a Green Arrow show, but 6 seasons in, going into 7, it might be time to try something a little different. And then the other thing with that is the whole Team Arrow, Not Arrow Civil War. As bad as shit got to the point where there's no coming back from some of the shit they did, the last couple episodes, just Oliver Queen goodwill tour, just handshake, oh sorry dude, sorry, and everyone's like, that's cool, we respect you, you're awesome, and then they're all back on the same page. And it seemed like it happened pretty quick. I mean, granted, some of the animosity that they have with each other was just emotionally based, and once you get over some of the ways that they screwed each other, I guess you think with a clear head a little bit better. I mean, it's just a superhero show. There's only so much logic, I guess, I should expect out of it. And then we get to the villain aspect of this season, and they did something pretty strange this year, I would say. You basically start off with the Caden James as your big bad, with just a pretty redundant storyline. It's basically, he accused Oliver of killing his son and he wants revenge, which Prometheus last season was mad at Oliver for killing his dad, he wanted revenge. And you go even farther back, and Deathstroke wanted revenge on Oliver for killing the girl that they both loved. This is like a common theme, and they all just become like master manipulators, and it wasn't a bad villain, it was nothing original. And then you get to the mid-season twist that was actually Ricardo Diaz that was the mastermind behind everything. And it was just so underwhelming, just for the fact he was such a background character at this point. It's just like, did nothing to make any kind of impression. I know that was part of the point, that it's the guy you least suspected, but it just wasn't that great of a reveal. As they began to develop the character, he got a lot more interesting. seeing his motivations. They did the episode where we saw his origin and what makes him tick. He ended up having a pretty interesting take on doing the character, which definitely seemed to work. As you get to the final few episodes and his plan starts falling apart, you kind of get the more rabid version of the character, and he's not as interesting, but you figure, well, at least his storyline is going to wrap up, so this is just the way it's got to go. And then for whatever reason, they decided that his story was enough to continue, and now it looks like he'll be back for the next season. He survived. He's out on the run. Lost everything that made him intimidating. He pretty much had all of Star City under his control, which, by the way, got a little too unbelievable. I mean, it got to the point, the last couple episodes, he was in the police station. It was his base, and every single cop that was there worked for him. And for a short amount of time for that to happen, it's just kind of came up unbelievable. I guess this went on for like years and years and years of corruption, and this villain got into it, but it was over a matter of months that he took over the whole station. But anyway, we'll be stuck with him next season. Hopefully they find some interesting new way for him to interact with Oliver and the team. And then that leads to the other cliffhanger with Oliver. Well, first of all, throughout the season, you got into the Oliver being out as a Green Arrow, which seems to happen every other season, and he usually finds a way out of it. They took it a lot farther this time, to the point he actually went to trial, and basically he gets out of it, and he's just a free man, and then they take it back, and he ends up turning himself in and going to prison. I mean, it's okay. I mean, got to do something different, got to make it interesting. There was a Green Arrow movie that was supposed to be made years ago. I believe David S. Goyer was supposed to write, possibly direct it, called Supermax, where Green Arrow would be thrown into a Supermax prison, but see, at least they were stuck in there with like cool DC supervillains, and it would have been a pretty cool storyline for a movie. I don't think the show's going to go that far. I think he's going to be in there with just a bunch of generic, bad guys, and maybe they'll throw in some Arrowverse villains, but we'll see. Most of them are superpowered ones are on the Flash, and they usually get locked up in the pipeline at Star Labs. But I don't know, we'll see how they go. The storyline with William and Oliver being father and son, God, it started off so cringeworthy. Just, hey buddy, what's going on? Just the way he talked to him was just corny. They go goofy. The thing was like, who's the bad man? And the kid points at Oliver. It was bad. It got better as time went on. They got a little bit better bond between the two. And the kid was still, more often than not, just a plot device. Maybe they could find something more useful to do with the next year, make him feel more fleshed out. I don't know. You also had the Black Siren storyline, which was just kind of useless in my opinion. Just tried so hard to leave her intentions ambiguous, and I guess to an extent they were, because she didn't seem to even know what she wanted. But you just kind of quickly didn't care whether or not she redeemed herself or not. Quentin came off as desperate and creepy, trying to put so much effort into redeeming her. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not his real daughter. I know she looks like her. I know she's got deep down some similarities, but I don't know. It just didn't seem to work. The payoff did work because they put so much emotion behind it. But I don't know where they go from there, because now with his contract up, they decided to kill off the Quentin character, which, I mean, since they said his contract was up, it was kind of pretty blatant that they were going to off him. So I don't know. I don't know about having this semi-evil Black Siren still in the show next season. I mean, I guess she kind of redeemed herself, but you already got Black Canary, so I don't know why you need two people with basically the same exact power running around. As far as my favorite episode, there wasn't really any that jumped out at me that were that great. I'm going to go with the 21st episode with the courtroom drama. It's docket number 11-19-41-73 is the name of the episode. It was decent as far as the courtroom stuff goes. I thought, for as over the top as a superhero show is, both sides made reasonable cases to the jury, semi-realistic to what you could do in that situation. The Human Target angle was pretty blatant that they were going to go that way, but it was still cool seeing him show up as Tommy and taking the mantle of the Green Arrow. at least for the public to think that's who he was. That kind of gets undone by now the finale with Oliver admitting that this whole time he was Green Arrow. I don't know how many times he's going to go on TV and lie to the public. At this point, I almost wouldn't believe him that he was Green Arrow because he said so much other shit throughout the years. Least favorite episode goes to the first episode with Fallout. Just the fact that they took all the great setup from last year and just said, "Nope, never mind. Everything's back to normal. Give us a few episodes and it's all gravy again." I'm gonna check through my notes here, see if there's anything else that caught my attention throughout the season worth mentioning. Kind of wasted Deathstroke. He's back. He's on the side of Oliver and his team again. He kind of disappeared after that episode with his son, and that was the last we saw of him. So I don't know what they're gonna do with him in the future. Hopefully something interesting. We got another cliche storyline again where you had Diggle using the drug to keep his muscle spasms at bay. And it's corny, and every single show does this. And I know it's dramatic, and I got to point it out here. I didn't do a review for Jessica Jones. I would have pointed it out there. Every time someone gets this special juice or something, there's always a scene where they're using it, and it's just gone. Like, you don't ever fucking notice that your shit's almost empty. Like, if I pick up, thing of aspirin, I don't just say, "Oh my god, it's empty." I know it's fucking getting low for a while, So it's like you got to look to see if you got any more surplus drugs on hand, or you shake your inhaler, see if there's anything left. It was just kind of silly. There was some really strong acting from Stephen Amell this season, and he had some great Diggle, Green Arrow conflicts that were just not just conflicts, but the brotherly stuff going on that were really well acted. Also I kind of mentioned earlier about Quentin Lance had some strong arcs that gave him some phenomenal acting moments, especially his last words with Oliver were really well done and felt really heartfelt between the two characters. There wasn't a lot to talk about for this season of Arrow. It almost kind of feels like it's treading water a little bit because 6 seasons in, you're constantly adding characters, losing characters. I believe Thea is done after this season as well. I believe they said Roy Harper will be back next season, which kind of ruins their, I don't want to say ruins it, but it might ruin their little happy ending storyline with those Thea and Roy running off together. But I don't got too much else. Like I said, if you want to see anything else from me as far as reviews, I have a few other videos floating around. I'll have a few more coming up in the future. My website, soundedbettermyhead.com. I have some reviews on there. And I believe that is it for now.